My name is Elizabeth, and I wanted to provide my own sort of insider insight to the series, actually, with my experience with the police application process. So, I'm currently, as many of you are aware from my contributions throughout the period of this course, I am in the process of applying to a police department right now, and it's provided me with a lot of experience in what the process looks like. And the process is going to look very similar across different departments. My partner's brother applied to the sheriff's department, so I can see the similarities between the police department I'm applying for and the sheriff's department he applied for, and see there's some differences, but overall it's the same kind of process. So what I want to get into today is what the interview looks like for law enforcement, because it is common across the board to have an oral interview board where you'll have between 3 and 5 different officers on the panel interviewing you. And it's kind of a scary part of the process, but it's also short and not really that hard as long as you're prepared for it. So I will just explain what it looks like and how you can be prepared for it and feel confident going into it. So I was given the advice by the lady in charge of my hiring over at the police department to go ahead and just hit YouTube, watch videos, watch mock ones, and just check it out, because all the interview boards look about the same. So do your research, watch videos, see what it looks like at different places, and ask for advice. Ask for advice from current police officers, or even if the department you're applying to is really open and doors open to their applicants, go in and ask them some questions if you have any questions. That's what I've loved about applying over at Prescott Valley Police Department, is they've emphasized over and over and over again with me, our doors are open. If you have a question, come in and ask a question. Don't feel like you have to wait until you're supposed to show up for the next step of the process. So ask questions as much as you can. Make sure you're fully prepared there. I would also advise researching the department. I was never asked any questions about who runs the department, but I still knew who the chief was, who the assistant chiefs were, and who the lieutenants were, so that I had an idea of who they were, where they came from, what their areas of expertise were. So if I was asked any questions along the line, I could be, the chief of police is Tyser. And I forget the assistant chiefs now because it's been several weeks, but I remember who the chief is, and that's obviously the most important one because I'll eventually be having a one-on-one with him. So before the interview, it's pretty easy. Just watch YouTube videos, research the department, and if they tell you anything to know before your interview, know it. Research it on the department's website, research it outside of the department's website. For example, I was told to fully understand what community-based policing is. So I looked on their department and looked at their community outreach programs and how they interact with the community to have that department-specific idea of what it looks like. And then I also looked up what community-based policing means and found a flow chart and went through that as well to just have that full all-around knowledge of what community-based policing was. So next comes time to go to the interview. How do you show up? So definitely be early. I think I was about 30 minutes early to my interview. Be early. They'll probably take you in on time, so you'll probably sit there for a while, but definitely show up way ahead of time. It also gives you time. I've had multiple things I've showed up to at the police department during the application process where I've been halfway down the road and I'm like, I forgot this. And I've had time to turn around because I've usually left about 45 minutes to an hour before I'm supposed to be at the department. So be early and dress professional. For mine, I wore slacks with a blouse like this, and I had a suit jacket actually on. I even wore my class ring as well. So dress professional. Utmost professionalism there. Do not go overboard on makeup for all my girls out there. A police officer is not a fashionista. Don't need to look like you spent 2 hours on your makeup. Just do simple makeup. Like what I've got on right now is perfect. Maybe a little color on the lips. Eyeliner is kind of a maybe not, up to you. What you want to do. I usually just do a little bit of foundation, powder, contour, and some mascara. Call it a day. Still looks professional, but it doesn't look overkill. Show up to the police interview, you wait, they take you back From there, shake everybody's hand. No matter how many people are on your panel, make sure if there's a table, make sure you lean over, you shake every single hand of the officers on your panel. From there, they'll start the interview, and they're not very long. My interview was 7 questions long, and the questions were long questions. The whole interview took about 30-45 minutes in total, but it's not a lot of questions to prepare for, and they'll give you information on what to really expect scenarios. There's always going to be at least one scenario. I would say at least 2, honestly. I had 2 scenarios in mind. And expect stuff about your performance at previous jobs, what your strengths are, weaknesses are, who are you, what do you know about our department. I was asked, what do you know about community-based policing, and basic interview questions of that sort. And then when it comes to scenarios, be prepared for a scenario where you see your partner do something that is either a crime or just will reflect very poorly on the department. I was asked about my partner posting a picture of a dead body on Facebook and how I would handle that. So expect something along those lines, or seeing your partner steal a candy bar, something of that sort. You'll probably be asked that sort of question. And then also expect another sort of scenario where you're actually handling a situation, or you're off duty, a situation comes up, what do you do? Or prepare for a potential use of force scenario. In my interview, I actually answered my use of force scenario completely wrong. I had no idea what to do. I told them I had no idea what to do, that I would call for backup, and if it's not available, I really don't know how I would handle the situation. And that's the next thing I want to go into. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to give an answer that makes you look bad. It doesn't make you look bad necessarily. It's just showing that you're honest. I've made these mistakes before. I talked about poor performance when they asked me about how I handled a certain situation at work before. I mentioned a situation where I handled it incorrectly and how I should have handled it. And as for scenario-based questions, some of them are straightforward common sense, you should be able to get them right. If you see your partner do something wrong, talk to your partner. If he still does it wrong, talk to your manager. Those are straightforward. But when it comes to a use of force scenario or something you just don't know how to handle it, it's okay to give the answer you think is right and follow up with, I'm not entirely sure. They can teach that to you. And that's what they explained to me. So afterwards, they're like, that was the incorrect scenario. You would actually go ahead and use your gun in this scenario. And my brain was like, I grew up in New Zealand. Police officers don't have guns. I forgot, in the stress of the moment, I have a gun here as a police officer. So I forgot I had that option to even use. And they understood that because I told them about myself. And they explained afterwards that we're not worried about that. You have character. You understand community-based policing. Those are the most important things. If you get a scenario wrong, you're going to learn that at police academy. But you didn't try to just fake it till you make it. You just explain you don't understand it. And at the end, they'll always give you an opportunity to have an ending statement. My ending statement, I thanked them for the opportunity to apply and expressed my hope that any shortcomings they may see in me, that they would be willing to coach and teach me to meet the standard that they require and more. And something along those lines will really express the willingness to learn. As long as you're willing to learn and you're a good person, you're going to stand out. And that's kind of the end of it there. Finally, before you leave, make sure you shake all their hands again and thank them for their time. And that's about what the oral interview board is going to look like for you. And don't stress. They're going to know you're stressed. My hands were sitting on the table. I was told given the advice to have my hands folded on the table. My hands were folded on the table and they were shaking so hard for about the first 2 or 3 questions. But just hold yourself together, take a deep breath, and think. Just remember, breathe and think. It doesn't matter if there's quiet for a little bit while you try to think of an answer. They don't want you to just spit out answers faster than you can think. They want to hear your genuine thoughts on each question. So I hope that helps anybody who's looking into law enforcement here in the near future. I know Embry Riddle provides the Global Security and Intelligence major, and I have several friends who went through that major and are looking at police departments. So I really hope that this information helps you all prepare for the police oral board interview.